Ultra Software Corporation, aka Ultra Games, was founded in 1988. They have a long list of NES games in their development library, 17 to be exact. In their first year, they would develop and release the very popular Metal Gear in June 1988 and Skate or Die in December of the same year for the Nintendo Entertainment System. The next year, they would release 5 more games: Gyruss, Q*bert, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Defender of the Crown, and Silent Service. The reason for only 5 games? Well, during the NES era, Nintendo had a very restrictive licensing agreement. Third-party developers were typically limited to 5 releases per year to avoid flooding the market. The reason for the restrictions were so Nintendo could maintain a degree of control over both the number of games and the content of those games. Nintendo also wanted to avoid what happened to the Atari, where a large number of bad quality games led to the video game crash of 1983. In order to figure out where Ultra Software came from, we have to look at their parent company, Konami. In the 80s, Konami had achieved success with their hit arcade games such as 1981's Frogger, Scramble, and Super Cobra. They would continue producing video games in the 80s for Atari, MSX, and the NES. And by 1987, their earnings were around $10 million. Konami was already releasing more than 10 games a year for both the Famicom and its disk system add-on. And they wanted to expand their releases on the NES to 10 games a year. To do this, they needed a way to get around Nintendo's restrictive licenses. So they formed the shell corporation, Ultra Software. Ultra Software Corporation would only exist on paper and had no office or employees. It was basically a name. The games Ultra Software released were actually being developed by Konami, with Ultra being used for the label only. Creating the new shell corporation worked because by 1991, Konami had grown from earning $10 million in 1987 to earning $300 million in 1991. Some of the games released under the label Ultra weren't actually developed by Konami, such as Defender of the Crown and Nightshade developed by Beam Software, Silent Service and Pirates developed by Rare, and Star Trek 25th Anniversary developed by Interplay. Ultra Software label would be used for a total of 9 games on the Game Boy, 2 games on the IBM PC, and 2 Commodore games. By 1991, with the release of the Super Nintendo, Nintendo started relaxing their restrictive licenses and allowed third-party developers to publish more than 5 games a year. As a result of this, Konami no longer had a need for the shell corporation and would drop the label in early 1992. The last games released under the Ultra label was Ultra Golf and World Circuit Series, both released in March 1992. In Europe, Konami would create a similar company to Ultra called Palcom Software Limited. Its label would be used on similar games to Ultra's and a few additional ones. Unlike Ultra, they would release multiple games for the Super Nintendo, but eventually Konami would close Palcom Software in early 1994. There you have it. Next time you see Ultra games, you know it was really Konami all along. Thanks for joining me on what happened to Ultra Software Corporation. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Rod here with Zivivi Entertainment. Before I get out of here, make sure to check out Digital Break for some awesome content creators. Digital Break is a 1-hour block on local TV that premiered in April. They are taking talented YouTube creators and airing their content on local TV. So make sure to follow and like their Facebook page. Thanks everyone, I'm out.